The MBTI stands for the Myers Briggs Type Indicator. It's the most widely used psychological instrument in the world. Many applications, many uses. What it does is it identifies 8 genetic preferences that we all have in 4 categories. There's 2 preferences. So it identifies each of these. What are they? They're mental processes, how we take in information, how we process information, that type of thing. We all have all 8 preferences in each of the 4 categories. We just prefer one or the other. You know, here's the deal. If it's possible to maximize an athlete's potential, know what motivates them, know how to help them handle pressure over their career, know what techniques work best for them, then it's kind of a no-brainer. And what the MBTI does is identify the mental aspect of anybody's game, but it also helps us identify certain physical attributes in an athlete. So taking the MBTI adds the mental component to the high-tech training and all the activity and all the practice in order to maximize an athlete's potential and minimize their deficiencies. Well, let me answer that with an example. I know that the most predominant type on the professional circuit right now is an ISTP. Now, with the advent of rackets, the power games, coming on, and so other types that have more of a power game are gaining on the ISTPs. But what ISTPs, what they have that's an advantage is intensity and concentration, but they also have a physical aptitude towards fine motor skills. So towards the end of a long, grueling match, they're still going to be mentally there and at the top of their game physically. They're going to be able to use their wrists in spin, control, velocity, where, say, even just one letter off, an ESTP is breaking down mentally and doesn't have that fine motor skill action. The coach and the parent and the athlete are going to understand what techniques work best for that athlete. They're going to understand how to motivate that athlete. They're going to understand how to help that athlete maintain a presence under pressure throughout their career. We all struggle in relationships. There's just an aspect to relationships that are a struggle. And usually when we struggle, we want to change the other person. Well, we know, based on research, that these mental preferences are genetic. They're inborn. They're not going to change. So instead of trying to change these differences, we need to understand them, again, in order to get everybody on the same page and make sure we're getting that athlete, not just to, as far as they can go physically, but really take them, adding that mental science to it, getting them to the top level. There's no doubt, there's 16 types, and there's no doubt about it, research has shown it, that certain types, there's only actually a few types that tend to do very well in professional athletics. So what does that mean for the rest of us? Well, what that means is we might have to work harder in certain areas of the mental game, or we may have to do a little bit more in certain physical aspects. If we're not as fine-tuned with the fine motor skills, we're more spatially oriented, more gross motor oriented, that's okay. And that's what I think we bring to the table, is we're able to identify those things physically and mentally, and then tailor, custom make, custom design the coaching and the training around those tendencies and obstacles in order to get the athlete where they want to go. So it really doesn't matter what your type is. If that's your goal, then we'll look at that and go, okay, well then here's the plan. Yeah, for ISTPs, they don't have as many obstacles to overcome, but that's okay. That's part of it as an athlete, is the dedication to get where you want to be no matter where you're at. Bottom line, they're going to see improvements physically and mentally in their game. That's just an overall big picture. They're going to see that along the way. Specifically, once we know what their type is, then we can go in and tailor make, whether that's a mental exercise that we need to work on, as far as like dealing with a lack of concentration or a struggle to concentrate, or whether that's working, like I said, with the fine motor skills versus gross motor skills, working at the net or back in the backcourt. There's just it'll just depend on what we find with each athlete and their type, and understanding what the natural given tendencies are. We want to maximize those strengths, tailor make their game around those strengths, and then take what liabilities we have and work on that so that they're better all around athletes.